A recent claim on Twitter stated that Adventure Time characters would be crossing over into Brawlhalla as announced by the Ubisoft E3 conference. Now, this video is going up noon on Monday. The announcement would come 3 p.m. Monday, so whether that's true or not, we have yet to see. But the idea of crossover characters and the whole topic is really interesting to me, especially more recently we had Hellboy, which was the first time a non-video game character was brought in, so that definitely opens up the possibility for something like Adventure Time. But I think they're really good. I think crossovers are really, really awesome. I think most people think they're really awesome, and those that don't like it, honestly, I think they're just hating to hate. I don't think there's anything to dislike about crossovers, especially when they're as well done as this, excluding Gruagok, of course. But yeah, so I want to talk about a little bit of crossover stuff and what I'd like to see in the future for some crossover characters. Maybe y'all would like to see them. You know, maybe BMG, they already got these in the works, and I'm just predicting the future here. But either way, I made a little list of some characters I want to see, and the first one, I feel like people are really not gonna like it, and it's Rabbids. Okay, just gonna let that sit for a little bit. Do I actually want Rabbids? I'm kind of indifferent. But do I want to live in the world where BCX 2019 Grand Finals is your super serious Mordex or Bodvar or Koji or Hattori, Ember, whatever, and they're fighting against a goddamn Rabbid, okay? Tell me you don't want to live in that world. There's so many potential skins and tie-ins with other games. Rabbids, I mean, they're a Ubisoft character, that's why I'm going for it, is because BH and Ubisoft and BMG, they're all together now, so I was thinking that there. But I don't want to harp on Rabbids too long because I feel like people really don't like them, and it might give Brawlhalla a little bit of bad press, but as we kind of know now, bad press isn't really bad press if it gets you attention for the game. So you know what I'm saying? I want some Rabbids in Brawlhalla. So that's a big crossover. I don't really know what they'd be though. I guess that's the main downside is, like what weapons would they have? I don't really know anything about Rabbids except that people hate them, so don't really have much of a frame of reference for that. Another crossover character that I think would be really awesome and might even be likely, that might be me talking out of my ass or something like that, but that's Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is a game that has been sitting in my Steam inventory for like a year and a half now, and I've launched it once. Don't mind the cars in the background. I feel like maybe they heard me say I want Rabbids in Brawlhalla and they're coming for me. Yeah, so Hollow Knight, it's got a really nice hand-drawn style that I think would fit relatively well into Brawlhalla. Maybe the hands and the legs would look a little bit weird, but they could do something with that, I think. But it's an indie title, which is always great. I think indie devs supporting each other is really nice to see. You had the Shovel Knight, you had the Rabbids of Aether, as I mentioned before. There's a lot that can be done too. I think maybe it would be best as a Hattori crossover. There's the, I don't know, just the shadowy imagery of Hattori Sigs and all the teleportation and smoke effects I think would look cool. But, you know, maybe not. Just spitballing out here. I don't know, I like these kind of casual videos just talking about some stuff. This was originally going to be a huge production event, but I don't think I'm good enough at editing to pull that off yet. So I'm just going to move on to the next character I have in my list. Now this is a continuation of the Rivals of Aether Rano Wushang little mini crossover, a little inkling of what was to come. And I think it would be really sick if Brawlhalla had some kind of Rivals of Aether crossover huge event. Like the Rayman one where there's an entire menu takeover, there's all a bunch of cool stuff, a bunch of crossover skins. I guess more like the Shovel Knight one than the Rayman one I would add, because that had a whole game mode and stuff. But there's a lot of crossovers I'm thinking of. Like, if you're familiar with Rivals, I know it on the very surface level. I haven't played much of it myself, if I'm going to be honest, but I think Maple could be a really cool Asuri or a really cool Caspian. Taros could have a crossover with Daedalus. Crag Zol. I'm thinking the cannon downsig on Zol could just make 3 big rock pillars instead of the fire effects. That would be really, really sick. I think Absa could be a really great Thor. The orb, obviously, as a big example, but Hammer, I guess, doesn't make that much sense. But it's lightning, so, you know, there's a little bit of crossover there in terms of the characters. So I think that would be pretty neat to have some sort of Rivals crossover. And I don't know, there's a lot of Rivals characters that could probably fit. Maybe making the weapons wouldn't make 100% sense, but at the same time, Rano Wushang, so there's already room for there. There's already room for the characters to have crossover, obviously, as the devs have collaborated before. There's actually Ragnir in Rivals right now, so yeah, that's a possibility, I guess. Just throwing that out there. Obviously, it's a lot of work for every dev, but you know, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about everything I want without being extremely unrealistic and living in a perfect world, right? So another thing that I think would be really cool is a Lethal League crossover event. Lethal League, if you don't know, it's, how do I even explain it? It's like dodgeball mixed with Brawlhalla, I guess. I might even show a little clip of gameplay here, so just so you can see. But if you're familiar with the game, I think Raptor could be really cool as a sword and orb character, or at least a skin. Actually, all of these would probably have orb because it's the ball. Dusk would be nice with Candyman. He's got the spear. Dice, Katar's an orb. Sonata Thor, that would actually make a lot of sense. The Doom Box with gauntlets and orb. And then the main reason why I thought of this is because Kung Foot gave me an idea for a Lethal League minigame in Brawlhalla. Imagine you're playing Kung Foot, but the ball goes 10 times faster, and if you get hit, you take damage, and eventually you'll get knocked out. I think that would be so cool. Probably a programming nightmare, but and not worth it, but I think that would be really cool. Another few characters I thought of. Obviously, Lego Obi-Wan, can't forget that. But the #1 character by far that I want in Brawlhalla, that's a crossover from another game, is Ori. Ori in the Blind Forest. It's a great platforming game in of itself. Ori's in Rivals of Aether, so you can, by the way, I don't know if it's Aether or Ether. I think I would just keep saying Ether. I'm going to change the pronunciation every time, just so that people get annoyed. So in Rivals of Aether, Ori's in that already as a fighter, so they've shown that there's some crossover possibilities there. With the new game possibly coming out, E3, maybe we'll have some announcements about it. What is it? Ori Will of the Wisps? Is that what it is? Oh yeah, Hollow Knight also has a sequel, like Silk Thread. I don't know what it's called. Well, I just realized that. Okay, moving on. Ori. Orb, obviously, as the main weapon. Just get that right out of the way. Well, I think Orb's sword could work. In the new game, they showed there's some new combat with both sword and bow. So either Orb sword or Orb bow could work. But honestly, beyond even just the character Ori, why I think this would be so sick is because there could be an Ori map, there could be Ori music, and let me tell you, Ori in the Blind Forest has got some great music going for it. So I think that would be really, really nice. And I don't know, I had a few more characters in this list, but I don't want this video to go on too long, so maybe I'll continue this thought in another one, just to end it on a good note. I think Dead Cells could be a nice little crossover skin. A Dead Cells character, what is it, the prisoner, the vanquished? I don't know what they're called, but that would be really cool. If you get what I'm putting down here, with the exception of Rabbids, I think indie characters would make really nice crossovers, but that's not for me to decide. I'm just spitballing here, talking about some things in the game that I would like. I think Kratos, if that's possible. I mean, they made Hellboy work. I think Kratos could work if they can somehow get that. That would be a cool, maybe Orb Axe or something like that, or maybe a Taros crossover. I think Loki would be a really sick Scythe Katars. They had Thor with the Orb and Hammer. I'm going on a tangent here. I want to end this video. I don't want to go too long. Yeah, bye.